It's an off day for the players at Miami Dolphins training camp, which makes it the perfect time to take a look at some of the top training camp winners and losers so far. The pads have only just gone on, still plenty of practice still to go, but it's a fun look at where things sit early on. We begin with Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle for the Dolphins, looking for a big fat new contract, and the early returns are pretty damn good for Wilkins. He is consistently finding ways to generate pressures, get would-be sacks. Obviously, you're not touching the quarterback if you're doing it correctly, but early promising returns for Wilkins, and frankly, most of your big-name players, Bradley Chubb, Tyreek Hill, etc., Wilkins has never been a big sack number guy. He's been off the charts great when it comes to tackles. 98 is an obscene number for a defensive lineman, an interior defensive lineman. But if the sack numbers go up in the same way the TFLs and tackles have risen over the course of his NFL career, he's going to get a big fat contract in the not-too-distant future. Now, we are 2 subs away from 42.5K. We are over 500 away from 43,000 here on Dolphins Today. If we do not get to, at minimum, 42.5, I'm going to delete the channel. No new host will delete the whole damn thing, which we should get there pretty easily, and we're going to keep giving you guys more Dolphins content, all for free. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button right now. Next up on the Dolphins camp winners, Tua Tagovailoa, the Dolphins quarterback. No real surprise here. I think he's actually coming off his best day on Tuesday with something like 11 of 13. You're never going to actually complete every pass at camp. That's not how football works. You have defenses going into. That was, by the way, in not just air, but against 7-on-7 team drills, etc. Seems like things are going well for Tua. As long as he is healthy, I think he will put up yet another top 10 season. It's a matter of, can you stay healthy? Has the jiu-jitsu working on learning how to fall worked? We'll find out when the games matter. But where would you guys rank Tua among all the different NFL quarterbacks in the NFL? This is going to be today's pinned comment. So if an ad happens to play here on YouTube, that's just fine. Ignore the ad instead. Go vote where you would rank Tua among NFL quarterbacks. Back to defense now. Cam Smith, the second-round pick at corner. I think he's done a pretty good job so far. A little up and down, off and on to start camp, but has gotten going since Jalen Ramsey got hurt. He's broken up multiple passes. Can still maybe pull those down in interceptions, but for a rookie second-round pick at a tough position against a bunch of very fast corners, he's looked pretty quality so far. We'll get to Ramsey, unfortunately, in the losers category, but the Dolphins have a chance to give reps to Cam Smith. Now, they've added Eli Apple. He has not done a massive amount so far because, he's still learning the playbook, etc. Give him some time. I almost put Noah Igbenogany on this list. He's looked a little bit better. We'll see when Nick Needham gets back, but I'm hoping Cam Smith continues this upward arc, looks good in the preseason, and the Dolphins have a comfort level if they have to start him alongside Howard and Kohu in their 3-corner sets. To the offensive line, how about Kendall Lamb? A lot of good praise from him from multiple different reporters on the ground, which is always a good sign for how you know someone's having some success. He has drawn positive reviews so far, and I think if you're determining who your swing tackle is, with Teron Armstead at left tackle, Austin Jackson, who for now has looked a little bit better. We'll see how things go when we get to joint practices next week. But Lamb would be your top option there at the swing tackle position. Isaiah Wynn was on the PUP list to start, so he's going to need some more time to get fully up to speed. Been some flashes from Eichenberg, but defense has mostly won the day, which maybe shouldn't be a huge surprise. Tuesday was much better for the offense. Next up is linebacker David Long, who, as we mentioned on, I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday's video, I am very excited about Long. As soon as the pads went on, Long began to really impress. He is a quick processor and a quick player. Those are 2 very good things to have in a Vic Fangio defense. I think his play speed is probably just as good as his time speed, which is in part because, hey, you're processing well, you're reading your cues and reacting properly. Here's what Emmanuel Ogbah, the Dolphins edge/defensive end, said about David Long. He's a good leader for us. It's a good sign, by the way, as an aside, that leadership mentioned when you've only been with the team for a couple months here. He's fast with the ball. He moves well. Yesterday he had one play where he came down, dipped on Liam Eichenberg, came downhill, and smacked the back We like that from our linebackers, especially the D-line. We want those guys to come get those double teams off of us. Good sign for Long. And we have a new Fanatics item for you guys. The NFL Jam. Do you guys remember NBA Jam where it was two players, different skills? Well, guess what? They've got those for NFL players. Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill, whose speed, by the way, is maxed out, by the way, which is the correct answer there. These supplies are getting a little bit light. There's also a Dan Marino NFL Blitz t-shirt. You can get those at chatsports.com/DolphinsJam. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Go check it out. It's a perfect gift for yourself or a loved one this time of the year. We're going to group a bunch of players here as it's the practice players of the day. So each day, a Dolphins player will get to wear an orange jersey signifying you were the practice player from the previous day. So we're through six practices. We have 5 jerseys then, since we don't know what it'll be tomorrow. Javon Holland, the safety. This is going in reverse order from recent to oldest. Raheem Mostert, Kader Kohu, Bradley Chubb, and Alec Ingold. So we'll group all these guys together among the training camp winners to juice the names on the list. When it comes to your biggest training camp winner so far, who is it? Very curious which route you guys choose to go, but let me know in the comments section who your single biggest Dolphins training camp winner is so far. Any player, go vote. I'm being a little bit more optimistic on this one here. It's linebacker Channing Tyndall. Tyndall has not had the best start to his NFL career. He was also always a bit more of a project player. I think Tuesday was probably his best day in camp this year or last year for the Miami Dolphins. Showed some pop and flash that he hasn't always shown previously. So my hope is that continues. As a third-round pick, there's a pretty good chance Tyndall makes the team in year 2, behind David Long, behind Jerome Baker, and maybe it's Duke Riley versus Miller for that last spot. But if Tyndall can show some flash and become a contributor, if only on special teams, it's going to go a long way for the Dolphins' depth at linebacker. Be remiss not to mention the player who had the biggest play of camp so far. That was Chris Brooks, the running back, the undrafted free agent out of BYU. Now, make no mistake, he faces an almost impossible path to making the 53-man roster, with or without Dalvin Cook or whoever. But he did bust off a 90-yard touchdown run. Maybe he can flash some in the preseason. I think he'll get a decent amount of the workload there. And if he does, that's great for him and gives the Dolphins a potential practice squad player. Remember, it is much easier to get players to your practice squad than we typically think. There's maybe one guy a year that you could end up losing, sometimes 2 if they're really pushing it and your roster's loaded. So I think you'd be able to get Brooks down there. All right, some training camp losers. Duh. Jalen Ramsey. This one's kind of a no-brainer. He's going to undergo, or did undergo, I should say, knee surgery. He is out until December-ish, give or take. He had the meniscus repair, injured while covering a route. Not great news there for Ramsey. Disappointment, of course, for the Dolphins as well. Could have been worse, but injured players always make appearances on our training camp winners and losers list. So with the losers mindset going here, which is kind of a weird way to say it, who is your biggest Dolphins training camp loser so far? An injured player absolutely qualifies. Go vote in the comments section. Robbie Chosen is next up here. There's a long battle going, or a deep battle, I should say, going on at the wide receiver spot. We've seen big plays from Hill, Waddle, Braxton Berrios, Cedric Wilson getting the occasional tweet of a big flash play. Been pretty quiet about Robbie Chosen, Robbie Anderson, which he got some good buzz in OTAs in minicamp. Hasn't seen the same during camp. Good news, it's early. He's going to get plenty of chances to flash, but his contract is not indicative of a player who is locked into a roster spot, and it comes down to which version you get. The good one in Carolina or the bad one in Carolina, the non-factor in Arizona. I think Braxton Berrios has a good chance to make the team as a slot receiver. Eric Ezukanma almost put on the winner's list. He's kind of flashed in almost a big slot role to give the Dolphins some size. Chosen has good size and good speed, but he's got to start making some more splash plays in camp and or the preseason, since there's also River Craycraft, Cedric Wilson, etc. fighting for that spot. Finally, the depth tight ends. In particular, Tanner Conner, who is hurt, still on the PUP list, and I don't know when he's going to be cleared from that perspective. Both Elijah Higgins and Julian Hill have had some drop issues. Not always. I think Higgins has gotten going a little bit more the last couple of days in camp, but those guys are fighting for a roster spot. Higgins was a draft pick. The Dolphins can buy some time even just by making him inactive most weeks. But you want your young guys to flash early. Bit of a slower start for Higgins and Hill so far at Dolphins training camp.